Sure.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Today we have with us Mr. Suvro Raychaudhuri, partner at CGI and Director HR for Global Technology Operations in the Asia-Pacific region. With over 2 decades of experience across IT, consulting, manufacturing, and healthcare, he has been at the forefront of driving HR transformation, organizational cultural change, talent development, and HR analytics-led decision-making. What makes his journey particularly interesting is that he began as a mechanical engineer and later transitioned into HR through XLRI Jamshedpur itself, and has since gone on to lead people strategy across global organizations. Outside the corporate world, he's also a runner, guitarist, writer, and someone who describes himself as a math worm. Mr. Raychaudhuri, it is a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Honor and privilege being here, Yukta.
Thank you so much, sir. And I must say the math worm thing was very interesting. But I thought before we get into the actual podcast questions, let's just have like a short icebreaker rapid fire round.
All right.
So first thing that comes in your mind, let's just go with that answer.
Absolutely.
Okay. So one HR buzzword you secretly wish would disappear forever.
Oh my goodness. So do you want to explain that, or you just want to...
Yeah, you can just take the word. But if
right.
you want to really explain it, that's up to you. There's no format for this.
Cliche possibly, but it's strategy.
Fair.
Definitely strategy.
I do agree with that.
Absolutely. Too many times used, extremely exploited and misunderstood. And you know what? Strategy has an element of timing and surprise.
True.
If I'm putting it on a PowerPoint presentation, that's not strategy for me.
Absolutely not.
Zhukov and Rommel were not doing PowerPoints, they were only doing strategy.
True, absolutely. And I feel strategy has become such a post word. You just add anything, roadmap strategy, operation strategy. For everything, you just put strategy on and there you have like a great word. But moving on, if employees could rate HR departments like Uber drivers, and I really like this question, what would HR's realistic rating be?
Oops. That's a very insightful, as in CITE and SIGHT,
Yes.
both. Are you being agent provocateur? But anyway, coming back to your question, you know what? I think if HR departments drive a clean car,
Yeah.
and it doesn't stink, and they don't take dark alleyways,
Fair,
they are supposed to go through the highway where there is a toll, and they ask the passenger to pay for it, and therefore they are supposed to go through it. I think the rating should be 5.5 out of 5.
True. I would completely agree with that because in my previous organization, I would say it was 5 on 5. They took care of us and they did whatever they could do. So as long as you're not doing anything which hurts us, good to go.
Good to know that.
Yes. But moving on, one brutal truth about corporate life that business schools don't teach.
All right. Fast-moving consumer talent, FMCT, is a highly perishable product.
Okay.
The entire pyramid is inverted. At some point in time, we thought that doing MBA was one up on just doing a graduation in engineering of any discipline. I think that pyramid is being completely inverted. So I think what we need to understand is existence in a FMCT environment comes from deep talent and demonstration of expertise. That is a brutal truth.
Yeah, I really like that answer. And I have a couple of questions regarding that, which I think I'm going to cover later on.
Absolutely.
All right. So second to last question, work from home or work from office? What leaders say publicly versus what they privately believe?
You got me onto a spot there. I think leadership is characterized with a lot of dissonances. Let me be honest. I know it may go public, but that's all right. Leadership is characterized by dissonances. So I can't talk on behalf of leadership in general because it's a very, very vast area. But if you are asking me as a leadership representative in what I think there should be a balance.
Right.
90% of our genes are rhesus monkey genes. And rhesus monkeys learn survivability through role modeling.
Right.
You sit on a branch, you see somebody jumping, you see somebody hunting, you see somebody scampering around, you see somebody running away, fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
These are observed, learned behaviors. I think that requires working from workspaces.
True. I completely agree.
And from the green part of it, I think companies should understand that there should be a balance. Saves a lot of time.
True. And I think at least I've seen that we were very efficient when we were working from the office. Because when we were working from home, we had work, but it was also like, "Bartan dho de kya?"
Absolutely.
So you never have that 100% focus on work if you're at home, because you have 10 other things that you have to look at.
Absolutely.
So
we
that's
used to have a joke. Are you working from home or are you working for home?
True. Yes. Okay, last but not the least, guitar or spreadsheets? Which relaxes you more after a stressful day?
You know the answer by
I
now.
do know the answer.
You know the
actually.
answer, but okay, all right. If you allow me to explicitly state that, let me recall maybe Robert Johnson, right? Always prejudiced by the church because he would play the blues, and the church would say, "Oh my God, he has sold his soul to the devil," because he would pull the church crowd away into blues music, and the church would have no takers. All his life, he was stressed.
Yeah.
So coming to stress and guitar, I think you can sell your soul to anybody you would want to, but it has to be the guitar at the crossroads.
Absolutely.
No spreadsheets, please.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, this was so much fun. And I really
Thank you,
hope the
thank
ice
you.
has been broken. Sorry for the very controversial questions.
I loved it.
All right. But I think now we can move on to the actual podcast
Sure.
part of this. And while going through your profile, I sort of discovered a small commonality between you and I, which is both of us, I think, started as engineers and then came to XLRI and had to take a complete turn of what we were doing to what we're going to be doing, or what you are doing in your case. And in my case, it was a very fateful thing to happen, because I think as Indians, we're told to do this one thing, ki, go and give the exam, just see how the exam is, pattern dikh ke aa jao. Which is what I went to do. I went and I gave that, and it was just to see the pattern, and I was very lucky and I got in. So for me, there was no moment wherein I decided that, you know what, I just want to go to XLRI. For me, it was more that I will decide that moment later. Let me just get ready now, and it just happened for me. So I was very lucky in that case. But do you think you had a moment wherein you decided that, you know, I want to shift from engineering to the world of people and organizations?
Very interesting question. Very interesting question, and lovely to know your journey. Actually, I think it pertains to a lot of us. It's not a very uncommon story.
Yeah.
That's how we grow. That's how we navigate our careers. And all those MBA questions. 5 years from now, where do you want to see yourself?
Yeah.
Why from engineering to MBA? I think, you know what, I have not shifted at all. Two reasons. And I had always thought about this 20 years back, and I continue to say this. AI is the new buzzword.
Yeah.
But HR has always remained to be the biggest big data conundrum for us.
True.
So if you talk about digital engineering,
Yeah.
HR is the space to apply and demonstrate engineering principles as far as digital engineering is concerned, because it is the biggest of the big data.
Oh.
My finance and marketeer counterparts would possibly disagree, but that's a fact. All right. And the second part of it is, I think all right, funnily enough, you know what? The word organization comes from the word organon. And funnily enough, it means a machine. There's an input.
Okay.
It comes from the Greek word called the organon. Right? So the entire organization is nothing but a machine. There's an input, there's a process, and there's an output, right? And there are metrics and top lines and bottom lines and all that stuff. But it's still a machine working, by the way. Let's get this practicality very clear. You need engineers to drive that machine.
Absolutely.
Be it from HR or be it from the technology engineering side. So I'm not shifted at all. I'm still pretty much an engineer at heart.
Yeah, and I think I was taking another podcast earlier with the CEO of Zoho, and he said the statement that once an engineer, always an engineer.
Absolutely.
And I think that does not leave you. Once you're an engineer, you're going to carry that forever.
Absolutely.
So that's true. But talking about like early on an early career, I believe you worked for 8 years at Wipro. Right? And what do you think were your biggest lessons that you got from there, especially because it was very early on in your career?
Oh, it's one of my most valuable possessions, working with Wipro. And actually, for that matter, every career journey we make is a valuable journey.
Absolutely,
at that point in time, because it leaves you with so much lessons and learnings and so on and so forth. So much to look back to. But I think one of the key lessons that I learned, at least, is that regardless of people and organizations and how idiosyncratic they are sometimes, or how erratic they are, there is nothing more you can trust than a hardworking person in an organization and an organization. They can be far more trusted than religious and political leaders.
Oh, true. Absolutely.
So I think that is a fantastic learning. So regardless of the idiosyncrasies displayed by either of these, the people in the organizations or the organizations, I think they make a lovely journey together.
True, absolutely. I completely agree with that. And I think something that I mentioned in your intro as well is that you've worked in so many sectors. And I had just seen my term 1 OB professor right now, and he taught us about human motivation. And one of my favorite things to write during exams is human motivation should be intrinsic, should come from inside, it should not be extrinsic, etc., etc. But since you worked in so many diverse sectors, do you think this human motivation is fickle once you move from industry to industry or environment to environment? Does it keep changing, or is it constant and universal?
Very, very interesting question. And you must have met your professor on OB1.
Yes.
Right? And there is OB2 and OB3.
Or just OB2 for us?
OB2 for us?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, to OB2 for you. So fundamentally, it moves from the individual,
right,
making teams.
Yeah.
That's OB2.
Yeah.
And how teams make organizations.
Correct.
Right? So you see it OB1, OB2, OB3, or OB1 and OB2 combining teams and organizations is a separate matter, but that's how the subject evolves. Going by OB1, you tend to assume that motivation is very intrinsic, and we do see very motivated people, therefore, almost as mercenaries.
Right.
Mercenaries not in the bad context of the term, but in the good context of the term, right? I mean, they would come and do because motivation is what drives them, regardless of the environment. But I think my limited learning from the last 23 years is that environments and industries do make a difference.
Right.
I have seen industries like the hospital sector, where pay is not very high,
right,
and pay is a big motivator, so to say, but people still do aspire to be there because they have a calling, a much higher calling, which we in XLRI have always talked about, working for the greater good, right? So industries do make a difference, and environments definitely do, right? A toxic environment would pull the motivation down. But the other good side of looking at it is that motivation is still, according to the OB concepts, and that's the right concept, I think, remains to be intrinsic, and that's the reason people move, because their motivation is not fueled by an organizational or an industry setup.
Right.
But motivation does come down, but if somebody is intrinsically motivated, I think those two don't matter, just that it pulls you down for a little while.
Yeah, I think if it's intrinsic, then you can always get back up.
Absolutely.
But if it's just the pay and extrinsic things, then you may not be able to pull yourself back up.
Absolutely.
Essentially, unless and until your environmental factors change.
Absolutely.
So, yes. But talking about this, and initially you mentioned something about data as well, and data about people is essentially what HR is a lot about. And you've spoken about HR transformation and technology-driven change, essentially. But you've been working for about 23 years. I believe this data was not available in bulk, at least when you started. So how do you think changes have come forth when it comes to the earlier times when you didn't have that kind of data, and now wherein you have data overload?
A lot has changed. A lot has changed. And you know what? The best part of data is we believe that it resides in Excel sheets. It actually doesn't. We look at people's faces, we see data there.
Yes.
That's how data is. We call it unstructured data, but it's data nonetheless, right? Just that technology today has a better way of capturing the data. But coming back to your question, Yukta, and thank you for asking that question. Something very close to my heart. I'll possibly give you a small story. I was working in one of the organizations where the performance appraisal system was not digitized. They had it on paper, and that was years back. We used to receive our pay slips through the office boy in a folded paper, right? That's how it is. That was before ESS and MSS came in, employee self-service, manager self-service, and now whatever you think, whatever we see out of that, right? So those were the days when performance appraisals used to be in paper, the files used to come to corporate. Nobody would possibly go through it. We trusted the managers were doing it, but I don't think they were. We pushed a very strong business case forward to digitize the system. Once the digitization happened, you get an extract, right? And a simple Control F on the goals column told us that less than 30% of the people who were in core production had anything to do with the word called safety. And that company was going through multiple fatalities and accidents and health, safety, and environment issues. That was the year, actually the next year, when we actually opened up 7 health and safety engineering roles in the company that never existed before. Right, so that's just a very simple example in terms of how focus can shift, how decision making can shift, how HR can possibly come and play a very important role in terms of saying that this is what I want and this is the data that backs it up.
Correct. True, I agree. And like you said, you created a role because you saw a problem over there. But one thing that I've noticed happening in corporate is that many a times when there are difficult human decisions to make, for example, let's say there is somebody who is very, very hardworking, but very toxic. So they do all the work, but then they pull down the people around them. But I've seen companies really hide behind data to make these difficult human decisions that, on paper, this is the data, that person's doing great. Do you think most organizations do this, or this is just like a one-off case?
I don't want you to be my question setter ever in this life or in any life. You ask difficult questions, but jokes apart, Jita. No, I think this is a very, very important, and I'll be very honest. We do quickly pull up data, and because this buzzword is around data, we think that we can hide behind it, showing it. That's what you're saying, I guess. But let me tell you, it's not an organizational problem. What we see around in the world, and I know it's public, but the fact is that there are 70 million data points that led a dark-tried leader up in the world in his chair. And when I say a dark-tried leader, I'm referring to psychopathy, narcissism, and malevolence, all put together. Now, we can't do much about it. Why? Because there are 70 million data points.
Right.
So it's not just about organizations. We have used data to selectively suit our purposes. But coming to the question in hand, if you're asking me about my perspective on this, I think I'll refer back to that old saying. It's a beautiful saying. In God I trust, but everybody else has to bring data.
Correct.
Because it still helps.
Yes, absolutely. That I agree with. Maybe it's something like a single source of truth.
Absolutely.
You need that to make some decisions.
Absolutely.
At least.
Absolutely.
And talking about the toxic culture, coming to actually organizational culture. And it's said that to change a habit, you need 21 days. This is an individual and just one habit, 21 days. So talking about changing organizational culture, for me, that's going to take more than 21 years to actually instill the change in culture between people. But we hear this a lot, that you want to make this culture change. Microsoft also did it. There was a huge culture change. So what do you think what are the mistakes that leaders make when they're especially trying to make a change in the culture of the organization, especially early on?
Yeah, very, very difficult to understand. I mean, we always think that culture is very fuzzy because it's soft. But if I may refer back to my Excel days, the limited that I remember, we used to have Edgar Schein, as in read from Edgar Schein very deeply. And he was very clear. Culture has around 4 to 5 very measurable, tangible elements under it. There would be philosophies, there would be rules, there would be observed behavioral irregularities, there would be dominant values. And I think he also talked about organizational environment, which encompasses all of these. So around 4 to 5 elements that Edgar Schein very clearly refers to as organizational culture. I think most of the time, so therefore it's very, very difficult to still understand culture, even the way Edgar Schein breaks it up. And for most of us, we don't even know the broken up elements. You can attack something, you can address something, you can appreciate something when the thing is less fuzzy and comprehensible.
Yes.
Right? Edgar Schein attempts to make it comprehensible, but I still think leaders, very few leaders, do understand these elements, and therefore what happens as part of a culture change, in the absence of a better word, failure, is adhocity of decision making, right? Not bringing in the right alignment, not balancing intuition and sensing with data.
Correct.
Right? And I think the most important thing is the leaders who make those decisions are propelled by what we refer to as an Achilles heels effect. The fact that they have succeeded reinforces in them the belief that how they have led is what is successful.
Right.
That is not necessarily true.
It's not true, yeah.
So that reflects in their decision making.
Right, absolutely. I think you answered this question better than even ChatGPT did. Because I have a habit of questions that I really like, I'll ask ChatGPT those answers. And you definitely answered better than ChatGPT.
Trust me, you prompt it hard enough, but you need to prompt it hard enough. And if you know how to prompt it hard enough, it means that you know your subject knowledge to be able to prompt it.
That is very, very true. But on that note, actually, the class wherein I was doing all of this was global marketing. And just the last class that I had Sir was talking to us about how difficult it is to make two people from the same company believe that they belong to the same company just because they're sitting in two different continents. So let's say ZS, for example, we had an office in Pune where I used to work, but the headquarters was Seattle, and there are offices almost so many places. So the question that Sir asked was that how do you make two people believe that they belong to the same organization? Because essentially there are going to be so many things that are going to differ for people in India and people back in Seattle. So according to you, since you take care of the entire APAC region, what do you think are the biggest leadership challenges that you have to face when it comes to a team or a company that is so diverse, especially like geographically?
Ooh. Yeah, again, one of my very, 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 very favorite subjects, and I think it links to the last question on culture, right? But I think this time it's not Edgar Schein. I think this time it's maybe a Trompenar or Hofstede.
Yeah.
So, for example, we do a lot of internal workshops in our company, right? So that we are not seen as transactional and seen to be bringing a certain amount of value that changes perspective. So we do a lot of these designs and design of workshops ourselves rather than taking external help. We do that as well. So in one of these workshops, I think our main showcase or highlight was on a very critical element in terms of where do our clients and working population, therefore serving the clients, exist. And we realize that there are 5 continents, subcontinents, or countries where they exist.
Right.
Right. And if you look at CGI's revenue pattern, for example, it will show that the maximum revenue is coming from those areas. So we picked up the top 5. One is North America. Now, between North America, primarily it's US and Canada, but I'm not differentiating between them because they reflect almost similar sets of, or maybe not, but for simplification, we took North America, as in USA, right? And then we took the Finland, Poland, Baltics, which is the Nordics. Then we took Germany and UK. We don't do much business in the Middle East. So these were typically our 4 to 5. And then we did a simple graph of Hofstede, and Hofstede is a fantastic site. We said that where is your power distance?
Right.
Where is your masculinity, femininity?
Yes.
Right? Where is your uncertainty avoidance? And the other factors that Hofstede very clearly indicates. You put it in the graph today, right after that, you can do that. You see there's a substantial difference between Indians working for each of these 5 areas.
Okay.
Power distance is extremely high in a country like India.
Right.
Very low in a country like US.
Yes.
Somewhere in between, possibly a European or the Nordics, right? Similarly, masculinity, femininity, and uncertainty avoidance is where. Uncertainty avoidance would be very high in a country like India. Less risk taking, but it has changed since the time Hofstede came up with his studies. I think a significant amount of, and cultures do shift. But at that point in time, according to Hofstede's study, uncertainty avoidance was very low in a country like US. So they are more prone to risk taking. Right? Now, obviously, that creates dissonances between how we appreciate each other or not, how we understand each other or not, how we converse with each other or not. Right? A client says, "Could you deliver it?" And we say, "Yes, ma'am," right? And because we have to nod our heads to say, "Yes, ma'am," because it's high power distance. Now, when it comes to the specific delivery points, in terms of how are you going to do it, what are the timelines? Are you sure you have baked in your contingencies? Because our initial behavior pattern is to say a yes, because of high power distance, for example. And I'm just giving you one example. It creates significant challenges in terms of how we interact and how we understand each other. So I think for multicultural teams and wherever they are, and now this big difference, forget nations. I mean, it's happening between Generation X, Generation Y, Generation Z as well, right? There's so much amount of culture differences between how we approach each other. I think it's about accepting the point that my culture is or what I follow or what I believe in is great, but not necessarily superior to somebody else's.
It's not better.
It's not better, right? So I think those kind of understandings is what we try to bring in together.
Yeah, that's really great. And the power distance thing was quite a cultural shock for me, because staying in Middle East and being from India, both places have very high power distance. But when my parents and I had taken a trip to US and we saw that it could be a CEO or a barista in Starbucks, they're the same.
Absolutely.
They would have the same respect for each other, which I think was great. And I think seeing that, my parents have also tried to instill that within me and my other family members. But I'm seeing that a lot of people in India, especially our generation, my colleagues in XLRI, they have that trait that they want to reduce that power distance. We could have an intern, but it's fine. We were interns at one point of time, so we really want to reduce that power distance, which I think is very, very necessary.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But now coming to one of my favorite questions in a podcast, because it's very confusing, is that we have AI nowadays, we have automation, we have so many things which are essentially there to replace humans. So do you think we have this traditional career ladder in our lives, which is there even today?
Okay.
But do you think this traditional career ladder will be there, let's say 20 years from today?
Ooh. Oh my God. Yeah, I know. I mean, these used to be very, very confusing earlier questions. And I remember in one of these interviews, in a panel, somebody asked the candidate on the other side of the table, where do you want to see yourself 5 years from now? And I think we were discussing this, right? And this person says, I want to see myself up on the career, on the corporate ladder. And the panelist asks, how many rungs does the corporate ladder have?
Yeah.
Have you counted it? But anyway, that jokes aside, I think a good way to visualize it is, I'm a kind of a visual person, so pardon me for that.
No.
I think a good way to visualize it is going into the villages, particularly in India. I don't know whether you had the opportunity to do that. Yeah. If you ever do that during the sowing season, they use a ladder.
Okay.
But that ladder is not placed vertically; it's placed horizontally.
Okay.
Somebody stands on it, and the bullocks or the animals pull it.
Right.
It happens when they churn the ground, and then they need to level it just before planting the seeds in. Right. So fundamentally, the ladder, the way it is used there, is for leveling the field.
Right.
The world of talent will be leveled. And I think we discussed it in one of the earlier trails where I said the pyramid is going to inverse. The pyramid has inverted, right? A young entrant coming into an organization possibly knows far more on emerging technologies than a manager who has gone up to the manager level from the Y2K days.
Yeah.
All right, or with a mainframe legacy.
Yeah.
There is context that the manager has. The manager knows how to write a contract better. What are the exit clauses that are required to be there to keep a contract safe? But from the other side of it, from a technology standpoint, from a delivery, from an energy, enthusiasm, I think it's about the ladder which is completely kind of flattened up. It's a horizontal one, right? And that is where the concept of this reverse mentoring and wherever we call it comes from.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be breadth, or rather the horizontal expanse of talent operations and not a hierarchical one.
True. Yeah.
But hierarchies would still need to exist. In large institutional frameworks, you can't expect anybody to do anything, and that would happen if hierarchies did not exist.
True.
So there has to be a hierarchy, but the system of power will change.
Yeah.
It would not be a positional power or a coercive power that allows you to do coercive power.
True.
That, okay, you haven't done this and therefore your performance appraisal ratings are going to go down. The power is going to shift, and talent operability will kind of operate on a field where it is expert and referent power.
True. Yeah.
And therefore you see the ladder, which is more horizontal and not really the way we used to refer to as the corporate ladder.
Exactly.
It's not going to be a vertical one.
I completely agree, and I feel it's going to be more of a complementary relationship, that on one side you have experience, so they would have understanding, they would know things better.
Absolutely.
But on the other side, they're more up to date with what's happening today.
Yep.
So it's going to be a really complementary relationship, which is, again, a great thing to look forward to.
Absolutely.
But on that note, coming to the end of this podcast, and one question that I want to ask, this is for essentially my MBA colleagues and something that I also want to know. So during MBA, we focus very heavily on placements and salaries and brand names. If it's a Genpact, if it's a CGI, if it's an Infosys, we're very, very happy about the companies coming in. But from your 20 years of leadership experience, what are the career decisions in the first 5 years that matter more than the job title or the salary?
You know what? I'll be very honest. We used to do exactly the same thing. Some things don't change.
True, yeah.
I told you we have genes of a rhesus monkey. Some things don't change. All right, but jokes apart, I think any environment that allows application and demonstration of what we have learned is something to look forward to.
True.
Right. Large organizations sometimes have the challenge of templatized situations where you don't learn much.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. I mean, what I'm saying is you don't have the freedom necessarily to deviate from that template.
Correct.
The template itself is a great thing to learn because those are large organizations, they have survived through those templates. Smaller organizations, on the other hand, too much amount of ad hoc decision making, too much lack of focus in terms of what they would want to do.
Yeah.
Lack of metrics. It is led by a lot of ad hoc decisions and stuff like that. That's also something to kind of avoid. So I think in the first 5 years, a balance between which is an organization which possibly gives me the application freedom to demonstrate what I have learned, but also as an exchange, I learned from that organization is a great place to go to. But I would definitely say, and again being very honest, I mean sometimes big brands say that I cannot pay you because I have a brand.
Yeah.
That's what I want you to associate.
Right.
The smaller ones who don't have the brand say that because I don't have a brand, I will buy you or pay you, right? So I think there's a balance again between the two. Don't go, I'm nobody to say don't or do, but I'm saying that take a informed decision in terms of what maintains a certain amount of balance.
Correct. Absolutely, I agree. And honestly, this is one of those questions which I've asked my father, because he's also been in the industry for so long. And he's given me the exact same answer, that what you need to go after is your learning. If you're learning from the organization, it's good enough. In the first, let's say 5 years, you shouldn't care about the amount of money you make as long as you're sustaining yourself.
Absolutely.
If you're sustaining yourself, then the money is immaterial. What you need is your learning, because that learning becomes a commodity which you use later to get that money that you lost in the first 5 years.
And you get exponential growth later.
Yes, absolutely.
If you're able to really, really learn and apply.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
So that is very true. But on that note, we've reached the end of our podcast. This was one of the most fun that I've had during a podcast. It was everything that we spoke about was very, very insightful, and it was very honest, to be honest, to be talking about it. And that's not something that you see very often.
Thank you, Yukta.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. I really hope to carry everything that you said with me for a very long time.
Thank you, and I love the questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry for the confusing and controversial questions.
No, thank you. I really liked it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.